Hey friends, welcome back to Jujube DIY. I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for joining me today. With the fun of Halloween and then the hustle and bustle of Christmas, sometimes Thanksgiving gets forgotten and shoved under the rug. But I'm here to say we need more Thanksgiving decor and DIYs. So I'm here to show you how to create a fun and festive Thanksgiving tier tray that's super easy, budget friendly, and will wow your guests. So stay tuned to find out how you can make all these projects. For our first DIY, we're going to use 4 of these pie slice wood pieces. I picked these up from 24 Hour Crafts. You guys know I love 24 Hour Crafts. I'm not sponsored by them, but I really love the prices and their customer service is great. So I always recommend 24 Hour Crafts if you are looking for some wood pieces to be able to paint. Basically, I am just using a pencil here to mark off the different areas in which I want to paint. You can take a screenshot if you want to copy what I did here. And then we're just going to go in and paint the different parts of our pie. So for the crust, I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in the color Hazelnut. And I'm just using a small detail brush. I always link a set of detail brushes that I like to use from Folk Art that I pick up at Walmart. They're very affordable and they work pretty well. So if you're looking for some smaller paintbrushes, definitely check those out. And then for our pie filling, I am using the pumpkin color from Hello Hobby. That is the Walmart chalk paint. And I am just painting that. So if you have like the Waverly pumpkin, I think that's probably a very similar color and you can use that one instead. So I wanted to create some definition on our pie, make this look like a 3D slice of pie. So I'm going to add some of the truffle from Waverly along this top edge. And originally I kind of go in with this harsh line. I decided I don't really care for that too much. So I dab off some of that paint and then just soften that line up by tapping the paintbrush over that line. And it just creates a more soft looking edge. And I really like that a lot better. Now I'm going to use these key rings from Michaels and they come in a 4-pack. You just take the key ring off and I gave it a coat of this blue paint from Hello Hobby. Can't remember the color off the top of my head, but I will leave it in my description box. And then using a stencil and a makeup brush, I'm going to add some lighter blue polka dots on top. Now the stencil is from Walmart, but any stencil you would like to use will work. Or you can actually add polka dots using at the end of a paintbrush or like a dotting tool. Now I'm going to add some fun details on our slice of pie. I am using a Posca paint pen, and some of you guys ask me where I get my paint pens. I usually go to my local Michaels. They sell them open stock at my Michaels, so I just pick them up whenever I need a new color, and then I use my 20% off discount as well while I'm there. But you can pick these up off of Amazon too, and I will leave in my description box down below the type that I use. So now I wanted to add some quote-unquote whipped cream onto our pie, so I'm using these little pom-poms. I just cut them off of this trim that I had bought at the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to just glue our slices of pie to these cute little key rings. Look how cute that is. And I don't know if you know or not, but orange and blue are opposite of each other on the color wheel. So they make great color friends because they complement each other. Now, 2 of my slices, I decided not to add whipped cream on just for some added interest. And now I'm going to add these little beads to the backs of our key rings. And this does a couple of things. This allows me to easily add string for my banner, because this is going to end up being a banner for my tier tray. And this is an easy way to add the string so that you can slide it back and forth, and it makes it easier to arrange it where you want on your tier tray. But then it also kind of helps close up that hole and gives me a place to add my bows later on. As you can see, they're up there at the top. But I'm going to add just a couple little jute twine bows right there on those holes, and then I don't have to get out the spackle and fill them up. It just makes it a little bit easier and in my opinion a little bit quicker. So then we just add our little bows there, and now just taking some baker's twine, I am going to put it on a needle, and then I'm going to string my banner on to the baker's twine. And look how easy and cute that is, and you can easily move those back and forth so that they can be arranged however you want on your tier tray. And I think this project turned out just too cute. So for project number 2, again, I went to 24 Hour Crafts and I found this adorable little home word with the pumpkin as the O. So I'm going to go ahead and give the letters that kind of blue color, paint in our pumpkin in a traditional orange, and then go in with the truffle for the stem. Now with a dry brush, I am just adding a couple of little hints of the lines for the segments of the pumpkin. It just adds a little more interest and makes it look a little more realistic and high-end when you add these little details. So I strongly suggest it, but you definitely don't have to if you don't want to. And as you can see, I added some polka dots and some little details with a Posca pen. I'm going to use this little cutting board that I picked up from Target in their bullseye area. If you can't find those same ones, right now Michael's is doing their 70% off clearance, and I was able to find quite a few of those little cutting boards that I just showed you there. So definitely take a look around, see if you can find some. I'm sure that if you go to Amazon or Google, you can find little cutting boards like this easily. So I'm just going to give it a dry brush of some white paint, and I'm just using a chip brush for that. And then I'm going to add some of this white jute twine that I get from Walmart to the top of my little cutting board. And then I'm just going to hot glue my little wood word right to the front of my cutting board, and then add a cute little baker's twine bow right there to our pumpkin, and that completes this project. I think this turned out so cute, and I just love these little cutting boards. All right, again, another wood piece from 24 Hour Crafts. This is a 1/2 inch piece, and I am going to mark it off with some washi tape here. Now, it doesn't matter what size washi tape you want. Whatever size washi tape you use will be the size of your stripes. But basically, I am just lining my washi tape up right next to itself, and I'm going to cover this whole pumpkin. And there may be an easier way to do this. At the time, this was the easiest way that I could do it, or could think of to do it, where I could get some really good even stripes. So I'm going to start off by taking off that first piece of washi tape, and I will paint this bottom area with this darker blue color, and I think it might be called pool blue, or I can't remember. Again, I'll leave it in the description box below. Then I'm going to I'm going to count up 2 pieces of washi tape and remove the third one. And I'll paint that again with the blue, and I'll keep going up. Then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to cover up our dark blue with washi tape after it's completely dry, and make sure it's dry. And then I'm going to pull up the next piece of tape, and I will paint that area that is now free of any paint. I'm going to paint it a light blue color, as you can see. So I've covered up all of the darker blue, pulled up the next piece of tape, and then I will do this lighter blue color, and then I will put the tape back on and pull off the third piece of tape to reveal the last area that hasn't been painted, and we'll make that an orange stripe. So this way, this probably is the worst way to do this, and if you've got a better way to do it, then I totally suggest it. This made sense to me, and it really did make some very nice stripes. I didn't have any problems with them being wonky or anything. So As you can see, now we've got all of our stripes, and I left the stem unpainted because I wanted to paint that with the truffle from Waverly. Next, I'm going to go in with a white paint pen, and I'm going to go in between each of the stripes and just add some dashes and dots to each of those areas. And again, I like the way this looks. It just adds some extra interest, and to me, it makes it look a little more finished. Now I have these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree. This one says grateful, thankful, blessed, and I was kind of deciding, did I want to do blessed or thankful? I decided that because we're doing a Thanksgiving tier tray, that thankful would be great. So I'm going to cut out just the thankful, and then I will add this rub-on transfer to the middle of my pumpkin here. And the nice thing is that you've got those stripes, so it's really easy to line it up and make sure that your letters are straight. Now I wanted to add a little decoration at the top, so I painted 2 beads, one with the dark blue, one with the orange, and then just made a regular little shoelace bow on this jute twine. And then I'm going to string on those beads onto one side just for a little added decoration. I just thought this would be really super cute and finish off our cute little pumpkin. So I'll just hot glue that right to the top there at the stem. And that completes this project. I think this one turned out so cute. I love it. Today's video is part of the 4th Friday Open Challenge playlist that I host every single month with my friend Lisa from Our Gray House. This month, our guest host is Emily from Farm Charm Chic. Both of these ladies are fabulously talented, wonderful crafters. They both do awesome farmhouse decor. So I'll leave both of their channels in my description box down below. Go check them out and tell them that I sent you. Also, as always, today has a playlist that I will link down below where we will be joined by lots of different crafters for tons of Thanksgiving and fall inspiration. All right, back to crafting. For this DIY, I'm going to use one of these wood planks from the Dollar Tree. And this craft is just so super simple, guys, but it really turns out really great. So I went ahead and gave it a coat of that dark blue, added the polka dots on top, and now I'm going to go in and hot glue this faux leather word that says grateful. Again, I wanted to keep with that kind of Thanksgiving feel and theme, so I thought grateful was a perfect word to add here. So we're just going to hot glue that down. Look how good that looks. And we're just like, this is like a 5-minute craft, literally. So then just to add a little more detail and fun, I'm going to add some orange and white baker's twine to the edge. And then using a Jenga block, or you can use tumbling tower blocks here, I'm going to add a little stand to the back so that this is a freestanding piece. And that's all there is to this project. Look how great that looks. And for just a couple of minutes and like $2, you've got a great sign for your tier tray. For this DIY, we're going to use some wood. These are just 1x4s that I've cut down to about 5.5 inches. And I am going to continue with our color scheme by painting one of them in the darker blue, one in the light blue, and one in the orange. And then I'm going to use one of these wood words from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to give it a coat of the truffle from Waverly, and then using a white Posca paint pen, say that 10 times fast, I'm going to go around the edges and do the dots and dashes. Now I'm going to add in this little gingham ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I thought that this would add a little different feel to our tier tray, give it a little something extra, and change up the pattern a little bit. Instead of using the polka dots, I thought an orange gingham would look adorable here. So I'm going to add just this orange gingham ribbon around our book stack. I did glue my book stacks together in the middle a little bit, not a whole lot of glue, just a little bit to keep them together. And then I'm going to add this orange, it's jute ribbon with orange polka dot bow on the top. And all I did was create a loop, pinch the middle, and tie it off with the jute twine there in the middle. Now I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue to glue our give thanks word words to the front of our book stack. Now I did cut off that jute twine. Originally I was going to let it kind of flow down. I decided I didn't really care for that, but instead I'm going to add some greenery that I picked up on clearance from Michael's to the top here. So you could use eucalyptus or boxwood from Walmart or any greenery that you'd like from the Dollar Tree, but this just turns out so cute and I love all these colors together. So you guys have been telling me how much you love the shelf setters that I've made. I've done a gingerbread one and a Halloween one, and so I thought, well, let's do a turkey one. That would be kind of fun. So I'm going to start off with a wood doll head that I picked up from Michael's. I've given it a coat of the Waverly chalk paint in hazelnut, and then I go in with a pencil and I create my face. So I always go in with pencil first. That way, if I make any mistakes, I can erase them and make sure that everything is in the right proportion that I want and that it looks good before I go in with a paint pen. So I always start off my eyes with that teardrop shape and then add a couple of different segments there for the black part, the color of the eye, and then the white of the eye. And I always try to stop the video for a couple of seconds so you guys can take screenshots if you want to create the same kind of face. Then you've got a reference for it. But if you are not loving this face kind of shape or these eyes, definitely go over to Pinterest. That is a great place to find inspiration. And there are tons and tons of different ideas for eyes or faces in general, but this is the one I like. So I'm going to paint in the eyes, and then I'll go in and do this vintage mustard from Full Cart Home Decor chalk paint, and then his little waddle will be red. So we'll just use a fine detail brush. Again, I link the ones that I like to use in my description box below, and then go in and add those little white details with the Posca paint pen. Now I'm going to link the original video up above here so that you can reference back to how I make these shelf setters. I've done them quite a few times, so I didn't really want to go into all of the details as to how I do the beads and stuff, but I am just adding the arms and the legs here. I always add these little wood rounds to kind of separate everything out, and that's what I like to add my legs to first. I let them dangle off and then glue them on where I want them. And now we're going to do the arms. And this little body that I'm using, I have been using the dice, the wood dice from the Dollar Tree before, but I've run out of those. So, and I can order them, but I don't really want to order 30 packages of them. So I'm just hoping that my Dollar Tree comes back into stock with them at some point and I can get some more. But for now, I'm just using what I have in my stash, and this just happens to be a little wood spool. I don't even know where I picked it up from. I think Michael's at one point, but I thought he made a cute little body. So definitely check around if you can't find the little dice to see if you've got some other things that will work for the bodies of your shelf setters. And I think this one turns out great. I love the little wood spool. I think it looks really cute. So I'm just going to glue everything together. And I just use hot glue here. If you want to use something more permanent, if you're going to sell these, I definitely would use a more permanent adhesive here. And then we'll just finish off this little guy with his head here. Right, so now we've got his arms, his legs, his little body. He's ready for a shelf to sit on. Oh, not quite yet though. We have to make his little feathers in the back. So I decided to use some leaves that I had on hand. I didn't have any feathers or anything. You could probably use craft sticks if you wanted to, or you could use real feathers, but I thought leaves would work great. So I painted them with that dark blue color, added some polka dots on top, and now I'm just going to kind of layer them together to create his back feathers. And I've seen other people do the leaves for turkey feathers, and I think they look great. So you can do what you'd like for your little shelf setter. I think this turns out pretty good though. So I am going to glue the leaves together to create one big piece, and then I'm going to hot glue that whole piece to my little guy here. And just like that. And then if you need to kind of glue it down in different places, you can. But how cute is he? And he is just absolutely perfect for a tier tray. For this project, we're going to start off with a really fun medium called Polymer clay. This is a type of clay that you would sculpt and then bake in your oven. I'm going to get a little bit out, and then I'm going to roll it into a ball, and then I'm going to roll it out like you would some cutout cookies. Now I'm using a polymer clay rolling pin here, but you could use anything like a glue stick to roll this out. You don't need any fancy tools. Then I'm going to cut it into a triangle. And again, you can just use a knife, a straight blade. You don't have to have anything fancy to work with this. I do recommend that you use like wax paper or glass or some sort of very, very slick surface to work with your clay. But other than that, you don't need anything too fancy. So the package of clay that I bought was a Sculpey 10-pack. I think it had 10 different colors from Walmart, and it was about $10 to purchase. And one of the colors they had in there, it was this like kind of bright orange color, and I was not really digging that for my pumpkin pie. So if you don't know, blue is the opposite on the color wheel from orange. It's complementary color, but it will also give like dull down the color of orange. So if you put a little bit of blue clay in with your orange clay, you can make this really beautiful soft warm orange color, which I thought looked perfectly like pumpkin pie. So I'm going to roll this piece out, and I want it to be about 2 to 3 times thicker than the first triangle. And I'm going to lay that first triangle right on top of my orange clay, and then I'm going to cut that same shape out. And if you haven't guessed yet, we are making a little slice of pumpkin pie. Now, once I get the both shapes out, I'm going to kind of press them together gently. I don't want to change the triangle shape. And then I'll just rub my fingers along those two, along the edges to kind of fuse the two pieces together. You just use soft hands, but it works really super easily. And then we're going to take another piece of the brown clay, and I'm just using a piece that I had already rolled out. And so I'm going to measure it, and I just want it to be a rectangle that is the same width as the back side of our triangle, and comes up above the top of our pumpkin pie a little bit, like you would see with crust. And then I'm going to just rub the clay together, and I don't want there to be any seams, so like where the back side of the clay and the bottom of our crust meet, you want to make sure that you just rub your fingers along that or use a tool to kind of meld those two areas together. And this little purple tool actually came in that kit that I bought from Walmart. So you don't have to have any tools, but if you buy a little kit like that, a lot of times they come with a set of little tools. So I'm just shaping our back piece of crust to look like a pumpkin pie crust. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white clay, and I'm going to roll it out like a snake. Just roll it into a thin line, like a little snake, and then start twisting it. And you're just going to kind of twist it on top of itself, and then you're going to swirl it up. And we're making our whipped cream with this. And then you get it as high as you want, and then just kind of use something sharp to, it doesn't have to be real sharp, but something that you can cut that end off, and then you can just kind of shape it to look like whipped cream. And it's that easy. And then you're just going to stick it on top of your pumpkin pie there, and you want to press it down just a little bit. But when that bakes, it's all going to bake together, and you're going to have a cute little piece of pumpkin pie. I had purchased this little scoop off of Amazon, and then I have my orange and white baker's twine. I'm going to add a needle to my baker's twine, and then I'm going to pull the baker's twine through the holes of my handle on my little scoop. And then I'm going to add a couple of beads to that I painted in that blue, dark blue color and the light blue color. And you'll see that here in just a second. Now, for those of you that don't really want to make your own little pumpkin pie slice, I will link a couple Etsy shops down below. I am not affiliated with them, nor do I know anything about their company. However, I can search up a couple of sites so that you have got a reference, or you can just type in pumpkin or polymer clay mini pumpkin pie slice, and shops that you can look for will pop up. Definitely check out reviews before you purchase. And again, I'm not endorsing anybody, but I will give you a couple of links that you can check out, and then, you know, buy at your own risk. So it's definitely worth it to look at reviews and stuff on things like that. So now I wanted to add a tassel to my scoop here. So I just wrapped the baker's twine around like my phone case, and I pulled it off. So now I've got a loop, big loop with all of those strands together, and I'm just going to tie it with the leftover string from the beads, and it's all tied together. And then I will just clip the bottom ends so that they're loose, and then I'm going to tie another piece of string around that kind of bottom. I'm gonna go down at like an inch, and then I'll tie off a little bit more, and then I'll wrap one of those strands around and hot glue, and that just makes a cute little tassel. Tassels are super easy. If you're not sure how to make a tassel, definitely check out tutorials. There are so many on YouTube here, and they're really fun and easy to make. And then I'm going to trim my ends so that they're nice and neat. So I've seen some Etsy sellers with these cute little tags on their scoops. Oh, I cut down a craft stick with my box knife, and now I'm just going to write in pumpkin pie. And you can use, like I'm using a Jelly Roll pen here, but you could use a fine Sharpie pen as well. And then I'm just going to glue that onto my scoop. And then I'm going to add my little piece of pumpkin pie, which this is what it looks like when it's all hardened. It's so cute. I just love it. And I'm just going to add that into my scoop with a little bit of glue. And here's a look at how this turns out. I think these are so cute. I am really loving little scoops. All right, on to our last DIY of the day. I hope you have been enjoying these so far. So this is a little wood piece that I had taken off of a decoration that I had revamped for another DIY, and I had it lying around, and I thought, oh, this would be a perfect place to use this. So I painted the bottom part blue to match our color scheme, and then I'm going to go in and paint the top part in the orange for our pumpkin pie. Now, if you don't have a pie like mine lying around, you can go to 24 Hour Crafts and buy one of their wood pieces. So now this part, it cut off for me. So I'm just going to have to explain kind of how I did it. I think you guys can see. I painted the main wood piece blue, did the light blue polka dots, and then wrote here for the in white paint marker, and then went in with a little bit of black for highlight, and then added my piece of pie. And I think this turned out super sweet and is perfect for my tier tray. So here is another look at the whole entire tier tray put together. I am really loving this. I love that unexpected blue. You don't think of blue necessarily for Thanksgiving, but I really love the blue and orange together. I think it's so fun and festive and just adds a good punch of color in this kind of dreary time. At least it's dreary here in Washington, and I love that extra pop of color. So you guys are gonna have to let me know which project was your favorite from today. Make sure you check out the playlist, check out Emily's channel, check out Lisa's channel, and I hope that you have a happy, healthy, and blessed day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!